Alrighty, so UFC 272 is over. Let's talk about it. So, if you guys have not seen it, do not watch the video. There is going to be spoilers for the co-main event and the main event as well. But overall, it was a very good card. Some really good fights in the prelim. A lot of grappling, which we've been seeing more of that in the UFC lately. Some very, very good grappling. Umar and Nurmagomedov fought today as well. Absolutely dominated. He is still undefeated. It was a very dominant fight. Very, very dominant win. Looked very good out there. Of course, really good kicks. And they were talking about how if he was to up his boxing skills and get his boxing skills to get as good as his kicks, that he would just be a complete menace. But that's definitely a dude to keep an eye on in the bantamweight division. I mean, the champion in the bantamweight division, Petr Yan, he's absolutely lethal. But if there's anyone that could give him a run for his money, it is someone like Umar Nurmagomedov, somebody with very good striking on the feet and excellent world-class grappling. So that fight really stood out to me. Another fight that stood out to me, of course, was Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy, it did not go too well for Greg Hardy today. And a lot of people were very excited about the outcome because it is Greg Hardy. For me, just a little bit different for me. He fought Sergey Spivak, I believe that's how you say his name. I really enjoyed that fight because once again, we see what can happen when a very good grappler gets a hold of a big man. Because a big narrative coming into the fight was Greg Hardy's size. I mean, the man talked about how he walks around at 300 pounds. And he had to cut like 25 pounds to get down to the heavyweight limit of 265. So he's a big guy. I mean, to have to cut weight to make heavyweight, that's kind of ridiculous. You know, that means you're quite ridiculously big. Not just that, he's also very explosive, very athletic, very fast, very powerful. So to watch him get completely ragdolled, and I mean completely ragdolled, taken down at ease, mounted and finished in mount, as someone who's grappling a lot more these days, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, there you go. Like, yeah, this works. It absolutely definitely works. You know, you get a big man, you put him on his back, all that explosiveness, all that size, all of that kind of goes down a little bit. He can still be explosive, he can still be dangerous, he can still be strong, but he's definitely not going to be as explosive or as strong as he would have been if he was on his feet. So really good performance by Sergey. It was really good. Stopped Greg Hardy in round number 1. And then, of course, there was Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. The fight was going really well. Alex Oliveira was doing very good in the fight as well. Kevin, of course, was doing very well until round number 2. It's very interesting to me how Kevin Holland is able to generate a ridiculous amount of power with very short right hands, and it's with the cross. It's amazing to me because if you guys watch the shot that he used to sit him down, it was just a banker of a shot. Dropped him, floored him, and then he got on top and landed completely like horrendous ground and pound. It was ferocious. Just rained down punches, elbows over and over again until Alex Oliveira literally could not take it anymore and the fight got stopped. So this was Kevin Holland's introduction to the welterweight division, his debut. And against Alex Oliveira, to beat him like that, very impressive. It was a really impressive win. And then he called out Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, not officially, but he sort of called him out. So it's going to be very interesting to see if that fight does happen. But just really good performance for a debut. And then Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Now, this one was very surprising. It really was. There's been a lot of speculation, especially after watching this fight, that Edson Barboza probably gassed out because of the weight cut. He has been cutting down to the featherweight division. I believe this is his 4th fight in the featherweight division. He was a lightweight before that. But this fight was very similar to what Khabib did to Edson Barboza. Now, Joe was asking in the fight, has anyone else done this to Barboza besides Khabib? Yeah, Kevin Lee did that to Barboza. Besides Khabib, I believe Michael Johnson when Michael Johnson fought Edson Barboza, Michael Johnson implemented a very similar style of game plan. It is pretty well known right now that if you want to fight Barboza, if you want to do well against Barboza, the game plan is you got to push him back. You can't let him be the guy that's advancing, because that's when he's extremely dangerous. You got to push him back. And you got to mix in your striking with your wrestling. You have to come in extremely well conditioned, because you got to drown Edson Barboza. And so that is the sort of fight style that we've seen used against him over and over and over again. So Bryce Mitchell definitely implemented a very similar style. I mean, Tony Ferguson did something very similar. Bryce Mitchell in round number 1 was able to sit down Edson Barboza. Beautiful left hand, sat him down. And then from there, he just implemented a very wrestle-heavy style where he was consistently taking Barboza down. He would take him down, and Edson would kind of play an old-school style of grappling where you stay on your back, you stay in guard, you keep the legs closed, and you slowly isolate limbs and look for triangles and arm bar. That's a very old-school MMA style of grappling on your back. These days, fighters don't really do that. These days, when you take a fighter down, especially in the middle of the octagon, they butt scoot immediately to the cage, and fighters use the cage to wall walk and get back up to their feet. From there, they search for underhooks, they look to reverse you, they look to get out of the cage. Rarely do we still see fighters in the UFC sit on their back with their guards closed, kind of waiting for their opportunity to throw up triangles. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do these days, because a lot of guys who implement that wrestle-heavy style of fighting, especially nowadays, more fighters are trained in jiu-jitsu, man, and it's going to be very, very difficult to get these guys in submissions. I mean, the moment you isolate a limb and they already know, a triangle's coming. You know what I mean? When you go like 2-on-1 on the arm, they can already tell, you're about to set up an arm bar. You know what I mean? It's the setups for triangles and arm bars. Like, you can be as sneaky as you want, but especially when punches are being rained down on you, it's very difficult to really be sneaky with those two submissions right now from closed guard. Of course, you could say you could potentially go for a Kimura. You know what I mean? Like if you sit up and try to go for a Kimura, but that's probably not going to work either. You could try straight arm locks. That's probably not going to work either, because the opponent is hitting you as you're trying that. So just in general, man, there's a reason why the style of grappling we're seeing now is people are using the cage a lot more. They butt scoot right away, boom, 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 to the cage. They use the cage to wall walk. From there, they're looking for their underhooks, and they're trying to reverse you. But Barboza really wasn't doing that too well. Even when he had his back against the cage, he wasn't, putting the feet on the hip, trying to push off, create a little bit of space, wall walk. He wasn't doing any of that. It seemed like he was just content sitting on his back with his guard closed, which is why a lot of people were speculating. It's very possible that he just didn't have the energy to explode. It's very possible that the weight cut got to him. And so he got dominated, man. He really, really got dominated in this fight. Bryce Mitchell fought him very smart and just beat him up. Just beat him up for three whole rounds. Edson was never really in the fight. He landed some leg kicks, some body kicks, but repeatedly he was grounded. So major congratulations to Bryce Mitchell. Really, really good fight. Really good performance against a very good fighter, a high-level fighter. So that was really, really good to see. And then, of course, Rafael dos Anjos versus Henato Moricano. That's a very interesting fight, because, of course, Rafael dos Anjos was set to face Rafael Fiziev, and Rafael Fiziev got COVID. He got COVID, so he wasn't able to fight. And then there were talks that Islam Makhachev was going to replace Rafael Fiziev and fight Rafael dos Anjos. But then, according to Dana White, Islam just didn't want to fight. That's what Dana is saying. I don't know what the true story is. We don't know. But according to Dana, Islam just decided not to take the fight. And so then Henato Moricano took the fight on short notice. A 5-round fight. And so coming into the fight, especially considering how aggressive Henato Moricano was in the first round, the narrative, the speculation is that he was trying to fight that hard because he doesn't believe he's going to be able to go 5 rounds. So he needed to do damage as soon as possible, maybe get a quick early finish within the first 3 rounds because he doesn't believe he's going to be able to win a decision. But then, as the fight progressed, I mean, I could talk about this fight between Dos Anjos and Moricano for 25 minutes. I really could, because so much happened in this fight. But in a nutshell, Rafael Dos Anjos goes back to his roots, man. He goes back to grinding, dominating, smash style Dos Anjos, where he's taking you down over and over again. I mean, this is how he used to fight. It's how he won the belt against Anthony Showtime Pettis in the lightweight division. It's exactly how he won it. Took him down over and over and over again. Used his very dominant ground game to beat him up. And that is exactly what he did at Henato Moricano. At some point, he caused a lot of damage on Moricano. And then the fight pretty much became, is the referee going to stop it? Is the doctor going to stop it? Is he going to continue? Moricano was game. I mean, he could have lost an eye in there and he would have kept fighting. And so it got to a point where his corner had to do something, right? His corner had to make the decision, okay, we've seen enough. You're not going to win this fight. Like, we got to call it off. The referee himself, I believe it was in round number 5. I think it was round number 5 where the ref looked at him and told him, look, you have 30 seconds to turn this around or I'm stopping this fight. At that point, he had a huge gash on his left eye. He was dripping blood all over the place. His eye was almost swollen shut. He was beaten, badly beaten. And then a lot of people were saying, oh, it's very possible that Dos Anjos is not really trying too hard. Dos Anjos is showing mercy. Dos Anjos has turned the fight into a sparring match. He's not trying to hurt Henato Moricano more because he respects him. But of course, Henato Moricano goes, fuck you and your respect, and starts blasting Dos Anjos. Like, if he would have had the energy, the explosiveness or whatever to put together a few more combinations, man, who knows? Because that was close. That was very, very close. I mean, he let those hands fly. And close to the end of the round, Dos Anjos, I mean, you see his face getting busted up. He was getting butchered. He had to shoot a takedown again. One more takedown just to stop himself from potentially getting sat down before the freaking fight is over. But overall, man, it was a really, really, really good fight. Really good fight. Both guys came out there. They fought their asses off. Dos Anjos put on a very impressive performance. And he did, because, like, you know, we're all focusing on the fact that Moricano took the fight on short notice, but no one's talking about the fact that Dos Anjos also took the fight on short notice. And he had to remind us all of that because he was training for a shorter Muay Thai kickboxer. And then he gets switched over to a long, tall jiu-jitsu fighter. You know what I mean? It's a completely different style from what he was training. So he also took the fight on short notice, and they both did a very good job. So really solid co-main event. Got us ready for the main event of the evening. Main event being Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. This is the fight we were all waiting for. I think before the fight happened, if you were to ask anybody what they think, you know, is going to happen, I mean, we all had a very similar prediction. Masvidal has the striking advantage, and Colby Covington has the grappling advantage. We all thought that Colby was going to win the fight, but I'll tell you the one thing that I did not expect, because I was saying the whole entire time, I was saying that Masvidal's grappling is, I was saying that it's going to be a bit closer than we thought. I thought that he would be able to wrestle a little bit harder than he showed tonight. Even Usman was saying the same thing. He was saying that Colby is going to realize that it's a lot harder to keep down Masvidal than he thinks. And he was also saying that Colby would realize that Masvidal would realize that Colby is a lot harder to strike with than he thought. And then what happened is, I was watching the fight, is that it was relatively easy for Colby Covington to take down Masvidal, and not just take him down. He was able to take him down, and he was able to keep him down for long stretches of time, a significant amount of time. He was able to just do it repeatedly, over and over and over again. Get in dominant position, taking the back. Now, I personally, if you're a fan of Masvidal, I don't really think you should ever worry too much about him getting stopped in the octagon, especially stopped in the octagon in terms of getting submitted from the back, especially now, because he has demonstrated that he has very, very good back defense. Like, you could take his back, but he stays very calm. He fights the hands very well. He keeps the chin tucked always, and he's always in the right position. He's never leaning to the choking side. He's always going to the underhook side, and he does a very good job of pivoting also once that choke slowly starts to get locked. So he does a very good job of fighting the back. He demonstrated that against Damian Maia, and in this fight as well, he showed that. Because Colby got his back a few times, but he stayed cool, stayed calm, collected. And Colby also just didn't really seem like he had too much interest in submitting him. He just wanted to beat him up. And that is exactly what he did until I believe it was round number 4. Round number 4 was a very big round for both men. Because in round number 4, Colby Covington was able to tee off on Masvidal and actually stun him. At least he stunned him. I wouldn't say he rocked him, but Masvidal was stunned a little bit against the cage. There was also the fact that he was tired. At this point in round number 4, he was gassed. He was really, really tired. And so Colby was able to tee off, land a few solid blows. But then in the same exact round number 4, Masvidal was able to land a beautiful, beautiful right hook right on the chin of Colby and sat him down. Now, he didn't drop him to his butt, but he at least took a knee. He at least took a knee. But then Masvidal just could not go and close the show. He was too tired. You could see him, trying to muster up the energy to go, but he was just too exhausted, too tired. And of course, this is also where Colby Covington's conditioning comes in. Because what do we know from really well-conditioned fighters? They recover very well. They recover very fast. It's something we've seen from Nate Diaz, from Tony Ferguson, from the likes of Cain Velasquez. Go watch Cain Velasquez versus Czech Congo. Go check that fight out. Cain was hurt in that fight over and over again. But every time he would just boom, pop up, just recover easy. Same thing with the likes of Frankie Edgar. These guys that have a lot of stamina, they're able to recover because getting rocked, getting hurt actually saps your gas tank. It tires you out. And so the more conditioning you have, the more you're able to clear your head, recover, get right back to it. And so Colby was able to do that. And of course, in round number 5, he continued his domination. And I would say he pretty much won every single round, except maybe the 4th round. I mean, you could say Masvidal did enough to win the 4th round because of that rock that he got on Colby. I would say I was really hoping these two guys would hug it out. I mean, I lost $20 tonight. Thank you very much. I had a bet with one of you guys on Twitter that they were going to hug after the fight. Because, I'm like, dude, there's no way they're going to spend 25 minutes in there with each other and not at least fist bump. You know what I mean? It's like, we all know how it is. A lot of times when you got a problem with another man, all you got to do is just fight. Sometimes you just need to fight. And once you guys are done fighting and you get that out of your system, you can kind of go back to, the regular swing of things, the way things were before. That's how I grew up. That's how I've seen it happen multiple times. And we've seen that happen in the octagon as well. We've seen Colby Covington go from, "Oh, Marty, fake news, man, and you're dead, to fight is over, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I love you, bro. I was just trying to sell the fight for you." I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe somewhere Colby is, like, I thought if anyone would try to shake hands, it would be Colby, but it was the complete opposite. Close to the end of the round, Colby starts shit talking him, telling him, "Get up, boy, get up, boy." And then the fight is over and they're just mouthing off. They're about to start brawling again, which is kind of funny. It's kind of hilarious. Like, you both had 25 minutes to brawl, but then after the fight, now you guys are going to get into an actual brawl. It's kind of funny. Anyways, overall, a really solid card. I would say the fight was like it wasn't lackluster to me. I enjoyed all the grappling. You guys know that. But I think to a lot of people, especially considering the fact that there was a lot of bad blood, it's very possible you could watch the fight and go, ugh, it didn't quite live up. You know what I mean? It didn't quite live up to expectations. But I am going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have not seen the fight card, go right ahead, check it out. Some very, very, very good matchups in there. I would suggest you watch Dos Anjos versus Henato Moricano. Really good fight. Check out Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. You're going to really enjoy that. If you like watching Greg Hardy get beat up, watch that fight. In the prelims, definitely check out Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. That was a really, really good fight. You guys are really going to enjoy that one. So check that fight out as well. And then in the early prelims, definitely check out Umar Nurmagomedov versus Brian Kelleher. And then check out Tim Elliott, the Tim Elliott fight. It was a really good one as well. Really good fight. Lots and lots of scrambles. That's a solid fight card. Anyways, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And I will see you guys later with a brand new one. As always, stay safe. Peace out. Have a good night, boys.